Don't overcomplicate it. It is reversible. You don't have to live with this disease the rest of your life, no matter what your doctor told you. We made it as simple as possible to give this a shot so you can see how fast your blood sugar can come down. You don't have to keep taking these nasty meds every day the rest of your life. There is hope, and we have the solution.
You are listening to The Dr. Haley Show, the podcast dedicated to helping you optimize your health. Each episode, there will be an interview or a message to help you discover better health. We will be featuring health radicals on the show to bring new ideas to the table, as well as doubling down on key fundamentals to support you living your best life. Your host is no other than the founder of Haley Nutrition, Dr. Michael Haley.
This is the Dr. Haley Show podcast. I'm Dr. Michael Haley, the show host. And today, every 8 seconds, someone dies from complications of type 2 diabetes. And many people accept this medical model that type 2 diabetes is a progressive disease that will only worsen, but along the way can be managed with medications. Type 2 is a progressive disease if you continue to do the things you are doing that got you there in the first place. But what if there were things you could do to not only prevent type 2 diabetes, but even to reverse it to the point where it no longer exists in those that have it? What if you didn't even have to go to the doctor for this help? That's where Diabetes Reversal Group comes in. Dr. Jeffrey Hockings is the founder and CEO of Diabetes Reversal Group. He's also the author of 2 books on metabolic health and a sought-after speaker in the future of individualized medicine. Dr. Hockings joins us today. Welcome to the show. Could you give us a brief explanation of who this show is for, and including what is the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
Yeah, well, this show is definitely for people that are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And luckily for us, that's about 90% of diabetics are type 2. Type 1 diabetes is more of a genetic disease. It's also called juvenile diabetes, and that's literally where your pancreas is not producing enough insulin. So type 1 diabetics, they have to take insulin every day the rest of their life. That's not a curable condition. But type 2, which is same as adult onset diabetes, which is caused by eating a lot of bad food for 20, 30, 40 years, and your body becomes insulin resistant. And that's what causes the type 2. So that's what this show is for type 2 diabetics. It is a reversible condition.
Yeah. And when you say reversible, I think a lot of people, they get stuck in this mindset because doctors just want to keep on treating the condition and not the people. There's a definition of mainstream medicine. I've read it before on my podcast. I'm going to read it again on this one because I really want people to understand there is a difference. Yeah. Mainstream medicine, and this is from cancer.gov, a government website. Mm-hmm. They say mainstream medicine is a system in which medical doctors and other healthcare professionals, such as nurses, pharmacists, and therapists, treat symptoms and diseases using drugs, radiation, or surgery, also called allopathic medicine, biomedicine, conventional medicine, orthodox medicine, and Western medicine. Now, medical doctors, some of them are practicing other kinds of medicine. What kind of doctor are you, and what is the difference in the way you practice compared to that mainstream medicine definition?
Yeah, well, my training is a doctor of chiropractic. So I'm not trained as a medical physician, which is a good thing because in chiropractic college, we're trained on more wellness therapy. So nutrition, exercise, chiropractic care, diet, etc. And medical physicians are trained when they get a diagnosis to prescribe medications and perform surgery. That's it. So there's a big difference there. Now, we do have 2 board certified medical physicians on our team, and they're both more holistically oriented, a lot of functional medicine training they got after getting out of med school, not in med school. So they're on our team with us. So we have a chief medical officer and a medical director along with us. But yeah, so that's the difference in what we do is we're looking for a way to change people's lifestyle in a very user-friendly way to where their body starts to heal the right way, their blood sugar starts coming down, And now their primary doctor is able to gradually wean them off their medications so they're off of them altogether. So that's what we do that's different than the way it's traditionally treated. And I'm not even blaming the medical physicians because they seriously are just not trained how to reverse diabetes in med school. So they're doing what they're trained to do. So it's not their fault. They're not trying to hide it from their patients. They just seriously don't know. And that's where we're different. We want to get people off of meds, not have them on meds for the rest of their life.
Yeah, we think differently. Chiropractors think differently when it comes to getting well. And instead of treating diseases and conditions, we're treating patients on this wellness program. I think it was B.J. Palmer who said something like, if you took all the medications and threw them into the ocean, it would be good for mankind. Bad for the fish.
Exactly.
But good for the people.
Yes,
and that doesn't mean that medicines cannot help and buy time. The problem is in mainstream medicine, we put people on it and we're managing the symptoms. So we tend to increase the dose over time until the person eventually dies with the condition, never having taken the time to say, well, how do I get off this medication so I don't need it anymore? How do I reverse the condition that's making me need this medicine? So medicine can be beneficial. It can buy time. If I get in a bad accident and I have pain so bad that I can't get rest, well, I need rest. That's part of health. And I might want something to help me get through that healing time. If my blood pressure is up to the sky, I might want to lower it as I figure out what's causing it to be so high, especially if I have an aneurysm or something like that.
Yep.
Medications can help, but they should only be buying time while you take time to figure out what is wrong. What was your story? What made you get into chiropractic?
Yeah, well, when I was 4 years old, I had a really severe case of croup. And if people watching don't really know what that is, it's almost like pneumonia. It's like really severe. And I had that for 2 weeks. I actually got put in a hospital. I was coughing nonstop, bronchial tubes constricting, closing up. I could barely breathe. I remember them putting this plastic tent over my bed in the hospital bed and putting ice behind it to keep the air cool, to try and help open up my lungs. And my parents literally thought I was going to die. And so as a last resort, my mom took me out of the hospital because one of her friends who worked for a chiropractor said, you have to take Jeff to a chiropractor. She's like, he doesn't have back problems. What do you take him to a chiropractor for? She says, trust me, please. No, nothing else is working. Okay, so she took me out against my dad's wishes, went to the chiropractor. I got adjusted 3 days in a row, upper spine, croup went away. And so right there, that's when my whole family became believers and realized that it's not just for back pain, neck pain. I had obviously nerve compression, upper part of my spine, constricting my lungs. That's what caused it. That's why medical care wasn't working. And so I became a believer as we started getting older. Our whole family started going to the chiropractor. My parents went. And so that's what got me into it. I always wanted to be a doctor as I got into high school, but medical care almost killed me. So it was a pretty easy choice at that stage, why to become a chiropractor versus a medical physician.
I have a similar story. My father had a back injury and the chiropractor said, bring your whole family. And I was the only one in the family that agreed to go. And I went before going to football practice. And that evening at football practice, I felt like I was just floating on the ground. I felt faster and more mobile than ever before. And I started realizing that the chiropractor was helping people with more than just improving overall potential, that they were helping people with their medical challenges as well.
Yeah.
Literally almost like raising the dead, doing Jesus-like things. I wanted to be like Jesus, so eventually I became the chiropractor.
Yep. Awesome.
There was a doctor, let me think if I can remember his name, Dr. Bob Schiffman, and went and I saw him speak one time. This is a fun little story, and I've told part of it before, but I'm going to explain a little more this time and then see if you had any similar experiences in your life. Dr. Bob Schiffman used to see like 2,000 patients a week. I don't know if he's still practicing or...
Yeah,
okay.
I know he got up to over 3,000 patient visits a week. He was seeing over 600 visits a day at his prime. Yeah, I know very well what he was doing. Yeah. So yeah, I love to hear this story.
Well, he was speaking at one of the chiropractors events, talking philosophy. And, at the end, when people kind of rush the stage with all their questions after he's done with the speaking, he had this crowd of people and he was just rapid fire giving them their answers. Now, at the time, I'd already gotten out of chiropractic school. And for me, a lot of people don't realize this, I went to Bible college after that. And I was a little bit confused in, Mike, are you a chiropractor, a doctor? Are you a minister? What's your role in life? And at the end, I kind of went up to him and I said, when he looked at me and said, it's your time to ask your question, I said, Dr. Schiffman, I struggle with, and he interrupted me and pointed at me and said, stop struggling. And he went on to the next person. That was it. That was the answer. And it was the most perfect answer I had ever gotten to one of my questions. He didn't need to hear the rest of what my problem was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of who he was in the chiropractic office, or who he is when it comes to helping people. He already knows what they need and he gives it to them.
Yeah.
Well, I would consider those to have been power words that were spoken into my life that stuck with me in so many other things that I did. Has anyone ever spoken power words into your life? If so, what were they, and how has that made you who you are?
Wow, that's a really good question. For my life, friend of mine is Tony Robbins. One of his famous quotes that he's used all the time is "Success leaves clues." That was one that really resonated with me about 25 years ago, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's people that are already ahead of you that are whatever profession you're in or are going into that are more successful than you. They've already got the experience, made all the mistakes. So hire them to be your coach or consultant or be a mentor of yours. And that's going to help accelerate your growth by not having to make all those mistakes over and over again like they did. Because again, success leaves clues. If you just follow someone who's more successful than you and just kind of tag along, it's amazing how it helps you eliminate a lot of the pitfalls. And you can use that same thing with health, right? There's people that are healthier than you. So why not do what they're doing? And guess what? You'll become as healthy as they are. It's success leaves clues. So I translate that into our healthcare with what we do for diabetes as well. I mean, there are people that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, right? That were diabetic, that did our program, and now have reversed their diabetes. So it is possible, and they can do it too. They just have to be willing to follow it because there's a success track there. And yeah, you don't have to try and outthink it. So that has been real powerful for me as I was going through my profession, for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that is good. Are there cases of type 2 that are not reversible?
For people that we've seen, this is really funny you asked that because, I've been doing this for 16 years straight now, just focused on 100% reversing type 2 diabetes. And over the years, there's people that have come in, they're like, boy, this guy's pretty sick. I don't know if we're going to be able to help him. And then lo and behold, 5-6 months later, they follow our program and they're off all their meds, reversed it, and even surprised me. So now, as much as I knew the power of the body to heal when you stop screwing with it and putting crap into it, it's still sometimes surprising, like, wow, that's still like, holy moly. Like we're talking people that have had heart transplants, kidney transplants, on cancer meds, anti-rejection meds that still reverse their diabetes. I'm like, really sick people. So right now, we don't disqualify anybody that, as long as they're a diagnosed type 2 diabetic, come on in, because again, I've seen miracles happen that even blew me away, as much as my philosophy is there, knowing the power of the human body. So yeah, there's nobody we've said, oh, sorry, you're too bad. Now, there might be some people that, because they're taking steroid medications or some anti-rejection meds or cancer meds, that don't get the results as quickly, but they can still heal. It's just amazing what happens when you put the right food in, the right supplements, do a little bit of exercise, have somebody there and coaching, encouraging you all the way through, your body will heal. It's amazing. You know that.
For sure. I wonder, some of those conditions you mentioned, those, coexisting conditions such as the heart problems and even, losing organs. Yeah. I wonder how many of those problems were actually caused by the diabetes in the first place.
100%. But when they get to that stage, we don't try and say, hey, if you'd have done this 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had your organ ripped out of your body. Like we don't, put gas in the fire. It's kind of irrelevant, but you're right. I mean, diabetes leads to so many things. I mean, it's basically a nuclear bomb going off in your body. It affects every cell, organ, tissue with that high blood sugar. And it's horrible. It's a deadly, nasty, nasty disease. But if you catch it early enough, it is 100% reversible. We've had people with neuropathy in the feet. They're afraid of getting an amputation. Neuropathy goes away. People in stage 4 kidney failure, where the doctor's saying, hey, you keep on this track, it's going to be dialysis or a transplant. They get off all their meds. All of a sudden, the kidneys go back to normal. Heart disease, cholesterol, all normalize. Blurred vision goes away when the diabetes is reversed. So, I mean, all these things, ED in men, like low sex drive, low sex performance, because again, diabetes is a big causer of ED in men and low sex drive in women. They reverse the diabetes, bang, no more problem with ED. Sex drive goes through the roof. So these are the things that happens, again, when you put the right food in, the right nutrients, let your body do its thing. You can get off these meds and live your life, man. Just like go to a doctor once a year for a checkup with no meds. That's what we want to get people to a point where they're not worrying about it. But as you said in the beginning, that's not how the world works right now. It's all allopathic, take a med. You watch a commercial on TV and people want the shortcut, right? They want that, give me the pill so I don't have to do anything. I don't want to change my lifestyle. I want to keep eating crap, take this med, and I'm good. Well, there's consequences to that, as you know.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk about these things. Yeah, we're not going to point blame and say, look, you did this to yourself. But there's people listening right now that have not been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but that diagnosis could be coming.
Yeah.
And what are some of the signs that they might be in trouble already?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things is, we have to get up and go pee a lot and at night, a little bit of dehydration. If you start getting a little bit of dizziness, lightheadedness, that could be something that's because of the blood sugar issues. But again, you should be getting some kind of blood work done at least once a year, especially you get into your 40s, at least once a year, because a typical metabolic panel, that'll show you what's going on with your blood sugar, your kidneys, et cetera. So that's the basic bare minimum you should do just to kind of see what's happening. Because as you know, too, diabetes can fester for a couple of years, not cause a lot of symptoms yet, until all of a sudden, boom, your blood sugar is 200. You go see your doctor like, oh my gosh, you're a severe diabetic. And of course, that took 2 years to get to that level. But because they weren't going in for just a basic blood test once a year, they never knew it. So that's what I would recommend everybody, especially you get to 40-ish. Yeah, so at least get a blood test once a year.
You enjoying the show thus far? One of the many health secrets that we have covered on the show is all around aloe vera. Specifically, drinking raw aloe vera. Our aloe vera has helped our customers effectively heal their gut, increase their intestine health, lower inflammation in the body, eliminate and/or decrease acid reflux, have glowing skin and hair, and so much more. Now, as a frequent member of our audience, you will be exposed to exclusive specials and coupon codes for the awesome products manufactured by Haley Nutrition. That's right, for simply being awesome and tuning in. You can get a mini discount to help you optimize and better your health. To see how we can help and support you on your health journey, tune into the episodes and listen for coupon codes that you can use at www.haleynutrition.com before you make your orders of raw aloe vera. Once again, it's www.haleynutrition.com. Now, back to the show.
How much of your practice is telemedicine?
100%. Yeah, so we don't have any clinics anymore. We have an office here in downtown Dallas, but we're 100% telemedicine, which is great because now people don't have to go to a clinic to sign up with our program. We can reach anybody all throughout the U.S., any English-speaking country as well. We're going to be expanding into India here in a couple months. So, it's very exciting because, diabetes does not discriminate. Whether you're poor, you're rich, middle class, other countries, it's everywhere. And so we can help people all over the world now, which is really cool.
How long have you been in Dallas?
We've been here for almost over 13 years now. So
okay. I haven't been to Dallas in a number of years. Last time I was there was for a Weston A. Price Foundation meeting, which was fantastic. And I absolutely loved Dallas. The nicest people. You go out to eat and everybody's happy, and they actually are happy to serve you and big smiles on their faces. Absolutely loved it there. You like Dallas?
Oh, yeah. That's why we've been here 13 years. We moved here from Southern California back in 2013. It was getting kind of crazy out there, just taxes and cost of living, everything else. And they were very hostile to business owners. So we just said, we're out of here. And so we came to Texas and way more pro-business, live your life, be successful, low taxes, all that. So it's been a good fit for us for sure for our business.
I'm in Florida. I think we're very similar in that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Exactly. Those are the two you want, either Florida or Texas. So for sure. Like Texas is getting all the Californians, you're getting all the New Yorkers, New Jersey, all the Northeast are coming to Florida. So yeah.
But they're becoming Floridians. People come here and they change. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what's going on with the diabetes model of taking Ozempic and all these things? What are people doing to themselves?
Yeah, it's all crap. I've been in this business long enough. This is my 35th year in healthcare, 16 years just doing diabetes reversal. And I've seen enough. I've been around long enough that Ozempic is like the new exciting thing right now at this time.
Some kind of fad, huh?
Yeah, it's the fad. You're old enough to remember back in the 90s when fen-phen was the big weight loss drug, right? That was every celebrities were taking it and athletes, and fen-phen was a miracle weight loss drug. And then 3 years later, boom, taken off the market because it caused so many side effects. And to date, last time I looked, they've paid out over $13 billion in damages to people hurt by fen-phen. That was back in the 90s. Well, Ozempic is the same thing. I saw a class action lawsuit started last year already for people with side effects for Ozempic because it's being overprescribed, it's causing intestinal issues, kidney issues. So I'll be surprised if it's on the market at the end of next year. I think it's going to go the same way as the Dodo, as fen-phen. And guess what? Once that leaves, they'll bring another one on and replace it, right? So just another diabetic med, whether it's insulin, Ozempic, metformin, glipizide, doesn't matter. They're all the same thing, trying to artificially lower your blood sugar. And when that happens, there's always side effects to that. There's no shortcuts. So luckily for our program, our patients don't want to take Ozempic, insulin, anything. They want to get off of that crap. So it hasn't really affected our business. We're like the natural alternative to Ozempic is what we are.
Well, how does it work? Instead of signing up for a drug, I guess people contact you. Maybe is it a face-to-face? You give recommendations, go get your blood tested. How does that work?
Yeah, so we have webinars that we give out like on a daily basis that people can go to and watch one of our free webinars. That explains our whole program, how it works. And then they have the opportunity to schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of our reps. That's where we customize a program for the person. And then when they sign up, everything's done telemedicine. So by phone or by email, pretty soon we're going to have our app done with the next couple of weeks. So people can use their app to do that. They get assigned a personal health coach to walk them through the whole process. But we give them exactly what they can eat, what they can't eat. We provide them with our nutritional supplements to take, exercise recommendations, and they get their one-on-one coach, and that walks them through the whole process. And the whole goal is get that blood sugar gradually coming down so your doctor can gradually wean you off the meds. And by the end of our program, again, the whole goal is it's completely reversed and your blood sugar is normal and you're off your meds. And for us too, it's not just the blood sugar medications, right? It's also most people get off their blood pressure meds, their cholesterol meds, they get off neuropathy meds, the ED goes away, they stop taking aspirin. So we want to get it to where there's a clean sweep, where there's zero medications once they're done with our program. That's the ultimate goal.
Sounds great. You take any one of those conditions, blood pressure improvement, my goodness, that's life-changing. Yeah. Erectile dysfunction, no longer having that's life-changing.
Yes.
And, as you repair these conditions by changing people's lifestyles. Are they monitoring their blood sugar levels? How does that work?
Yeah, so everybody who's a diagnosed diabetic, either they wear the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor thing they stick on their arm 24/7, or they're using their old glucometer where they just poke their finger once a day in the morning and they use them that way. So that's how they have to check in with their coach that we assign them at least once a week. And they got to give us their blood sugar, their blood pressure, their weight. And they also have to send in a daily food log once a week so we know what they're eating. So that's how we're monitoring them. And as the blood sugar gets down to about 105 in the morning fasting, that's when the coach says, hey, it's time to call your doctor so they can reduce the dose of one of your meds. So they're always under the care of their primary doctor. We're not the one taking them off the meds. We're just coaching them through that lifestyle program. And once the blood sugar comes down, boom, they call their call their doctor weans them off of it. So yeah, their doctor's always in the loop. We're never practicing medicine without a license or doing any of that stuff. So it's very, very simple, but man, it's powerful. The results we get are just off the charts. We've helped over 10,000 people reverse their diabetes so far, and climbing. So it's very, very exciting.
Yeah. What do people prefer, the finger stick or the CGM?
I mean, it's like saying what's better, cocaine or heroin. I mean, they hate both of them, because they don't like poking their finger, that's for sure. But they also don't like this thing stuck on their arm 24/7 either. So they don't like either of it. Some people like this, I guess, the CGM better because it's, now once it's on there, they're not having to poke it every day. But of course, our goal is you reverse your diabetes. You don't need to do either one of those. So that's what we want to do.
Sure. Now, the CGM, that does pierce the skin a little bit, right?
It does, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of them because I think it makes people too anxious and almost too anal because now they can check their blood sugar like every 10 seconds. Oh my gosh, my blood sugar's higher, and they freak out. And it's like, relax, it's okay. We just want people testing their blood sugar once a day in the morning fasting. As soon as they wake up, that's all you need to do. You don't need to be seeing what it is at 10 o'clock and 10:30 and 11 o'clock. It's way too much information overload, and it's not necessary, especially when you're following our program, because when you're eating the right food, your blood sugar stays pretty stable throughout the day. You're not going to have the big highs and lows, so it's really not necessary to check it multiple times per day.
The scientist in me, though, wants to try the continuous glucose monitor because I want to see how things change based on what I eat.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm interested in, well, have you used either of them yourself?
No.
Finger sticks?
Obviously I've done the finger stick just to, kind of see what it's like. But again, I'm not a diabetic, and I get blood work done once a year. My A1C is 5.4. I'm healthy, eat the right way. I walk my talk. So it's not necessary for me. I know I'm not eating, crappy things throughout the day where I got to see, hey, did a donut, how much did that spike my sugar? And I know enough about this being in this space that I follow the same program we put our patients on. Because I'd be kind of a hypocrite if I was eating wrong foods, telling my patients, you don't eat that, but I'm going to eat that. Right? I mean, you have to walk your talk in healthcare, as you know, otherwise your credibility is zero. And how many medical physicians are sicker than the patients they're treating, that are overweight, smoking cigarettes, had bad food, drinking soda? I mean, it's horrific. I see some of these physicians, I'm like, dude, how can you have any credibility when you look like that? I mean, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. If you're a physician, you know better, and you should be walking your talk. So.
Yeah, but I would still like to experiment with some of the things I've heard. For instance, some people are big fans of, just adding fiber, and you can still eat whatever you want as long as you eat more fiber. You can have your cookies as long as you have fiber with your cookies. Other people would say, you can have sugary fruits. They're not going to spike the same way as, regular table sugar, which I'm sure that's true. Yeah. But I'd like to actually see it in action. So for me, I kind of want to try it just for experimenting and
doing it for a month. Do it for a month, and just as you said, experiment with different food just for your body to see how it reacts. Yeah, I've got no problem with that. But as you said before, it's not a long-term thing you want to do forever. I guess it's good to know that. But for me, again, knowing the physiology of the body, I know what you should be eating that's not going to spike your sugar, insulin, et cetera. And I just stick with that. And my blood work that I get once a year, proves that, right? That everything's good. All the numbers are great. Kidneys, liver, A1C, cholesterol, everything's perfect. And that's kind of my barometer because I've already kind of done all the tweaking and testing years and years ago. But yeah, I've got no problem. Even with patients, if you want to keep wearing the CGM for the first 30 days in our program, just so you can see that instant feedback on how our program's working at keeping your blood sugar level and stable. And then after that, take the stupid thing off, and then just do your glucometer, poke your finger once a day, and that's it, with the goal of never having to do that after either once it's reversed. So.
Yeah, if anyone listening to this is wearing a CGM and wants to be part of an experiment, contact me. I'll send you some of our aloe vera, and you can tell me what happens to your blood sugar levels. I'm told that it lowers and helps stabilize blood sugar levels. Aloe vera actually has a unique sugar molecule, mannose, that apparently doesn't process like your glucose, your other sugars, and apparently it lowers blood sugar. And there was a research done in, I think it was 1935, where they actually gave it to rats that were in ketosis, and apparently they stayed in ketosis, which is unusual given a polysaccharide, a mucopolysaccharide, many sugars, polysaccharide. How do you stay in ketosis when you're eating many sugars? So someone's got a CGM on and wants to take that test. I'd love to see what happens. Or maybe I'll go get my own CGM. I don't know. Got to do it. What are some of your favorite success stories that you've seen?
Again, we've got thousands, right? And one of the ones that stands out is a guy, this is about 10 years ago, came into us. And again, as you mentioned before, one of these guys that thought, I don't know if we're going to be able to help this guy. He was a big guy, like 6'4", weighed about 400 pounds. He was on 190 units of insulin per day, and his A1C was still 12. And again, he's on 10 other medications, just a really sick guy. And so it got to the point where like it didn't matter how much insulin he took, because now even the artificial insulin was not working at bringing the blood sugar down. Like his own insulin stopped working because he was insulin resistant. The artificial insulin stopped. His doctor's like, I don't know what to do with you. I can't put you on 300 units of insulin because even 190 is not working. So he came in, did a 6-month program. The guy lost 120 pounds in our program, got off all of his insulin. A1C went down to 5.7. And again, that was one of those examples of holy crap. Like I was like even questioning myself, like, I don't know, but it still works. So again, it's pretty standard, but all the other ones too, it's just like, they're on this many meds, A1C's this, they go in our program 4 or 5 months later, their doc's got them off all the meds, they've lost some weight, A1C's normal. I mean, it's just very, very standard stuff. It's because a diabetic is a diabetic and they all have kind of similar symptoms. And so to see all of that improve just over and over and over again, it's really, really cool. We've definitely cracked the code with our program where people follow it. We predictably reverse type 2 diabetes. So, and of course, the big X factor is, are they going to follow it, right? The whole ball game is compliance, and we try to maximize that as much as we can. So,
yeah, talk about some of the main measurements, such as you mentioned A1C, and he had a A1C of 12. What's the highest you've seen? When are people in trouble with A1C? What should it be?
Yeah. Well, again, if your A1C is 6.5 or higher, that's when you're diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. So our goal is to get people to be 5.9 or lower taking no diabetic meds. So you get to that level, you're good to go. Like you won't have any issues, any symptoms as you get older, et cetera. So yeah, that's kind of the barometer. And so obviously, when they go to their doctor, if you're a type 2 diabetic, your doctor typically takes full-on blood work 2 or 3 times a year, where it's your A1C, your blood sugar, your kidney enzymes, cholesterol, lipids, all of that to see where you are. But when you're doing it yourself, it's the glucometer or the CGM that you get to do at home, where you can actually see what's going on with your blood sugar. So that's kind of how we're monitoring people on a weekly basis, by seeing what their blood sugar is doing. And obviously when the blood sugar starts coming down, so does your A1C. So they're obviously connected. So that's really what we're looking for. And it's just a very, very simple process. You eat the right foods and gradually your body will start responding. And your physician will have no issue weaning you off your meds as long as they have the objective evidence that your blood sugar is coming down. If your blood sugar is 160, they're not taking you off any meds. But it goes down to 100 or 95, they'll start weaning something. So same with your blood pressure. If you're on blood pressure medications, if your blood pressure is 160 over 100, they're not going to decrease your blood pressure meds. But if it goes down to 100 over 60, they're like, oh my gosh, we need to lower one of your blood pressure meds. So the doctors are fine with reducing meds as long as they see the numbers to back it up. Just like they increase your dosage of meds when your numbers go higher, they will start decreasing it when the numbers get lower. And that's our job, is to help basically force your doctor's hand to have to start weaning you off your meds because they don't have a choice. Because they know, oh my gosh, we can't get it too low. Otherwise, that's dangerous. So it's really cool when that happens.
Yeah, and let's talk about blood sugar for a little bit, because, when I went to school, that's what we measured. There was no A1C measurement. It was always, what's your blood sugar levels?
Yeah.
And what's the acceptable range of blood sugar levels throughout the day for, someone eating, maybe they have cake and it's a very sugary meal. How high should it be allowed to go in that spike? And how fast should it rebound? What's people's target blood sugar levels?
Yeah. So when I went to school 35 years ago, and you're going to love this story, right? Normal blood sugar back then when we graduated was between 80 and 120. And then magically 9 years later, they said, oh, wait a minute. Now normal blood sugar is between 65 and 99. So all those people that were between 100 and 120 that were normal are now abnormal and need to go on meds. Imagine how that happens, right? Who benefited from that? And the same thing with cholesterol. When I got out of school, cholesterol, if it was under 250, that was normal. And then again, 9 years later, all of a sudden, lickety-split, alakazam, now it's got to be under 200. So all those people between 200 and 250 that were normal are now abnormal. And again, who benefits from that? So these numbers are arbitrary and a lot of pressure to be put on them to make the normals low. So there's more people that are abnormal. So it gives them more excuse to give you more meds. So that's kind of what happens. So that's why with us, if your A1C is 5.9 or lower, that's a blood sugar about 120-ish. And that's completely normal as far as physiological norms and functional ranges. So saying that you have to get it below 100, that's arbitrary because some people under 100 feel like they're dizzy and hypoglycemic because that's not optimum for them. So that's why there's a range. So I'm still of the camp of between 80 and 120 is the normal range for blood sugar because everyone's different. Some people feel great at 85. Some feel great at 119, so it's not like it's got to be this number. So that's what we've seen over our experience is that. And that's why we have that range of A1C 5.9 or lower, taking no meds, even though the labs say that your A1C should be 5.6 or lower to be normal. Because the lab results now say between 5.7 and 6.4 is prediabetes, and 6.5 or higher is diabetes. But again, I don't believe in those ranges. That's why we have that 5.9 or lower range. So.
Yeah, medicine is in the business of selling medicine, and measurements are the key to their sales.
Yes, sir.
I think of blood pressure, and sometimes the blood pressure, well, it's a little bit high. So from a medical perspective, we want to lower it without questioning, well, why is it high?
Exactly.
Is it possible this person needs more blood to the brain? Mm-hmm. And when you get them in the normal range, all of a sudden they have signs of dementia. There's reasons why blood pressure might go up or why a sugar level might be optimal for someone. And we're all different.
Yeah. Well, and cholesterol, that's again, that example I gave you where again, it was normal under 250. Now they want it under 200. I've had patients come in where they're on a statin medication for cholesterol and their cholesterol is 95. And their doctors are fine with that because the lab range is now, there's not even a range for good cholesterol. It just says less than 200. So what? You can have a 20 cholesterol and you're okay with that? And they don't forget that. Guess what? Cholesterol is the main building block for most of the hormones in your body, including testosterone. So now we have this whole generation of men that have artificially low cholesterol, like, in the low hundreds, mid hundreds, then their doctor thinks it's fine. But now because their testosterone is so low, now they've got ED, they got performance issues, whatever. Well, but guess what? Now we can just give you some hormone replacement therapy to help your testosterone go higher. Even though it's because they're taking the statin med is causing it. It's just like, it's very, very crazy, the logic on that. So I see that happen all the time. It's crazy. And I know you've seen that too.
The medications on the second shelf are there to combat the symptoms of the medicines that are on the shelf above it.
Exactly. Great business model, isn't it?
Oh, boy. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. As a thank you for tuning into the Dr. Haley Show, I have a special coupon code that you can use throughout the month of October 2025. Get $10 off your purchase of $100 or more at HaleyNutrition.com. The coupon code is SAVE10. That's SAVE10. And as usual, you can even use this coupon with on sale and already discounted bundled items. Enjoy the rest of this show. The lifestyle of the chiropractor is definitely a different model. It's, treating people, not symptoms, not diseases. Not
here's an example. You'll probably know this too, right? I used to do this in my seminars. I'll show you how brainwashed the average American is. right? As far as medicine. And I said, okay, everybody, in your bathroom, there's a little cabinet on your wall that you can open up. I said, what is that called? Everybody shouted out. They all go, medicine cabinet. I said, exactly, right? It's like they've brainwashed you to think that you have to have a cabinet to hold your medicine, like it's normal. I say, you know what I call it in my bathroom? It's the bathroom cabinet, because there's no medications in my house. It's just a different way of thinking, right? Like when we get sick or get the flu, whatever, it's like my wife, our family, it's like medications don't exist. It's not even a thought in my brain to take a cough drop or some antibiotic, whatever. It's like I just take some vitamin D, some vitamin C, I rest, blah, blah, and it goes away. So it's a different mindset, right? It's like I'm literally like, in my brain, there are no such thing as medications. I haven't taken a medication since I was 18 years old. I'm 61 now, right? My wife, we've been married 33 years, not a single medication in her body in 33 years. Our daughter's 30, right? Born at home with a midwife, no vaccines, her whole life, not a single medication in her body, except I think lidocaine for a wisdom tooth being taken out, 30 years, no medications, and again, so that's what's possible when you do the right thing. But as you say, it's a different mindset. Like I don't look for those meds as a crutch to when I get sick, but man, turn on the TV and it's constant medications coming on, right? So brainwashes from a very young age.
I'm going to give some proof of brainwashing. And we're very similar. I've had 4 kids born in the living room and, really never been to the doctor. They've been to, hospital and stuff to get stitched up and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's good to get put back together when you
Yes.
rip your skin open or have bones
Correct.
broken, or one of my kids got hit by a pickup truck and had some surgeries. I think that was very good medicine.
Correct.
But somehow they've never had vaccines, and all of them, you're not going to believe this, they're all still alive.
I actually do believe it because I've got one of those myself. So, right? Imagine that. But guess what, Doc? You were just lucky. They ran through the raindrops and didn't get wet. That's why. You're the exception to the rule. So did you see this? This is a little sidebar. It came out, was it last week or the week before, where there's some doctor who was testifying in Congress, and they actually showed the numbers that was hidden by the FDA or the CDC, where they did a study where they compared vaccinated children to unvaccinated children. And it showed, obviously, what you can guess, dramatic differences where the vaccinated kids had 5 times the amount of allergies, 60% more of this. I mean, it was just so dramatic, like you can expect it, right? Autism, and there's 0 cases of autism in unvaccinated kids. I mean, it was, I'll send that article to you. And again, it got hidden so much. And then Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. All of a sudden, you don't hear the story anymore. But that was right in Congress. It was like I had a whole list. I'm like, where was that study 30 years ago? Well, they had it, but they suppressed it for obvious reasons because it didn't confirm the narrative that vaccines are this miracle drug that everybody should take. If you don't take them, your kids are going to die and have all these horrible diseases. And so it's very, very interesting to see that. And of course, RFK Jr., I think also a couple of weeks ago, put out the study about the connection between vaccines and autism. So a lot of stuff is coming out now that we've known about that were hidden for a lot of years.
And I'm going to say that I am not against vaccines. Personally, I'm pro weighing the good and the bad.
Exactly.
And what I have seen so far, for me, my family, it's made sense to not take the vaccine. And as an example, we look at something like polio. One of my favorite books to get the numbers from is the Merck Manual. If you look up polio, it'll say something like, 1% of the people that get it had complications.
Mm-hmm.
And a very small percentage, it cost them their life. Like anything, people got COVID and died, and people get the flu and die. And typically, these people are on their way out already. They have all kinds of comorbidities. They have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart conditions, organ transplants. They've had their share of challenges. So I would look at that and say, you mean to tell me I just have to be in somewhere in the top 99% of health and I'll be okay? Because that's pretty easy to do nowadays. Now, At some point in my life, it's not going to be easy to do anymore. At some point in my life, I'm going to be old and my life, this body is going to be worn out and about done, and it'll be weak and it'll be my time to go anyway. So that's kind of how I look at it. Now, if there was a vaccine that was proven safe and effective against something that would probably take me out, I want that vaccine.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen such a thing so far.
We're on the same page there too. I'm all about giving the parents information, right? Because they're not being told the other side of the coin. It's just, it's great, it's great, it's great. I just say, look, here's the pros, here's the cons. You decide. I would give them books to read, and then you make an informed decision, right? Because everyone, like you said, everyone's got their own way of doing things, et cetera. And just like medications too, with every 100 people that see our program, about 80 to 85% of them won't do it because they don't want to change their lifestyle. They'd rather just take the meds and keep living their life and take their chances, right? So again, for those people that don't want to do a program like ours, it's a good thing the medications are there because it's saving their life. It's extending their life, even though there's side effects and all that stuff. But so we're not saying that all medications are bad either. I'm just saying that if you want to reverse it, we have the solution for that. Understanding that 80, 85% of the public will never want to do it because of what I said. So it's a good thing the medications are there. We're not putting big pharma out of business. That's not my desire. It's like, hey, everyone has to live their life, but just here's pros and cons. You make a decision as an adult what you want to do, and then just be willing to live with the consequences. And that's cool. So,
yeah, the proof that we're brainwashed and that people want just the simple way out. Finish this jingle, plop plop fizz.
Exactly. Yeah,
and people want the relief.
Yeah,
and we can go through a number of examples of that where I might, say what medicine is the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head medicine so you could rest,
exactly.
And people would name a brand because they've had it imprinted on their brains.
Yes.
Now, I had fun with this a few years ago. It was a lot of years ago, but I know it's still the same way. I did research by watching TV. And I'm going to use round numbers just to keep it quick and easy. Imagine there were 5 sets of commercials per hour of TV programming. And in that set of commercials, in each set was 1 drug commercial. Well, that would be 5 drug commercials per hour. And this is pretty accurate. They said the average American was watching 20 hours of TV per week.
Yep.
Well, you can do the math and say, okay, that's this many hours, this many drug commercials in a given week. And using round numbers to make it easy, instead of 20 hours, let's say it was 10. Let's say it was half that. Well, now 10 times 5 is 50 per week. And let's say there were only 50 weeks in a year. We're looking at 2,500 brainwashings per year. And if you've been watching TV for a decade, we're at 25,000.
Yep.
Or 4 decades, you're at 100,000 little brainwashings when it comes to drugs. So we're all programmed to get relief from a pill bottle. And it's certainly easy to pop something in your mouth and swallow it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But real change takes action.
Yeah.
And it's a decision. And it's looking in the mirror and saying, I got to change this about myself. I got to stop eating the donuts. Wake up and realize what real food is, what real activity is, what a healthy lifestyle is.
Yeah.
How important is exercise?
Amen, brother. Preach it.
Yeah. How important is exercise in the equation?
I mean, it's obviously nothing wrong with exercise, right? We encourage our patients to exercise. We encourage a minimum of walking 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Remember, our average age patient is 65 years old. So they're mostly baby boomers. And it's already a Herculean effort for us to get them to eat the right foods and take our supplements. Luckily, that's 99% of the equation with their blood sugar coming down. Obviously, some exercise helps that, but it's not dependent upon them exercising a lot. Otherwise, they won't reverse it. And that's a good thing. But yeah, obviously, you got to move your body. I mean, that's why we say at least minimum 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. We give them home exercise they can do where they don't even have to worry about going to a gym and any of that stuff. So yeah, so exercise is obviously great. But I will say this, some exercise is actually bad for a diabetic and can actually increase your blood sugar. And a lot of diabetics don't know that. Like if you exercise too intensely for your body, it can cause a adrenal gland spike, a cortisol reaction, which spikes your blood sugar, right? Because your adrenal glands are the fight or flight organ, right? So again, if you exercise too intense, so I'm doing like an hour of cardio and all this really, all of a sudden, like, why is my blood sugar not coming down? I exercise 2 hours a day. Well, that's why, right? You're exercising too intensely for your body. And that's another example of the CGM where it comes in place, right? If you know your exercise is right for you, look at your blood sugar before you exercise. And then about 30 minutes after you exercise, look at it. If your blood sugar is lower, that meant the exercise was proper for you, because if you exercise the right way, it should be burning off glucose. Your blood sugar should come down. If your blood sugar is higher 30 minutes after you exercise, what you did was too intense for your body, whatever it is. So then just back it off a little bit and test it again. So very few people know that. And I didn't know that over my years, like these guys, I'm a triathlete, blah, blah, blah. Like, my blood sugar not coming down. I'm like, okay, that's why. And no one's ever told them that. And once they do that fix, amazing the results they see.
That's fascinating. I never really thought about that, considered that your blood sugar could actually go up by doing the wrong exercise.
Yeah.
One of the things you said the average patient was 65. And I think it's kind of funny because you're not far from there. A few years, you're going to be, 4 years, you're going to be 65 years old. And walking really isn't exercise. It's basic transportation. We've gotten so lazy in our lifestyles, we probably would be working out in the fields till, many years older, sweating, working hard all day. And we don't do that anymore. We have desk jobs. I'm sitting at a desk right now surrounded by computer monitors, very low activity compared to probably what our ancestors were doing 100 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we need to replace those activity levels with something called exercise, which was probably a term that most people weren't even familiar with a couple hundred years ago. What do you mean exercise? I need to exercise?
Exactly.
Why would I do that?
That's what I do all day. Exactly. But you're right. I mean, everyone's so sedentary now. We're sitting on our butts 16, 18 hours a day, watching TV or on a computer screen. And so, they got to do something. But again, I'm a pragmatist and a realist, and I'm a student of human nature. And I just know if we had to try and get somebody who's in their early 70s, to reverse your diabetes, you got to go to the gym, an hour a day and do these kind of weight exercises, this. They'd be like, screw it, I'm done. I'm not doing it, So it would never work. And luckily, again, it isn't necessary to reverse it. But obviously, you want to exercise 100%. Because we're seeing kids that are 12, 13 years old now coming in with, wait for it, type 2 diabetes at 12 or 13 years old because they're already obese. Their knuckleheaded parents are feeding them Happy Meals 5 times a week. The kids aren't exercising. They're on their phones all day long or video games. And like you go around neighborhoods now, try and find kids outside playing in the street, playing hockey or shooting hoops. You don't see any kids. Like there's no kids anywhere. They're all inside on their mobile devices. And that's why we're having all these chronic illnesses now with kids and their teens. It's insanity. But again, it's lack of information and then the parents not being able to translate that to the kids. And that's why we're seeing all this stuff happen. So again, exercise is huge.
When we were kids, we'd play hide and go seek, and there was a lot of activity and running around. And nowadays, that same game is in a digital format, only it's with guns and ammunition and tanks, and you're hiding around corners and shooting people instead of running around and tagging them.
Exactly.
I would say to people that don't want to exercise, okay, find an activity that you enjoy doing, whether it's playing pickleball or something where you're active.
Yep. For sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Where should someone go that needs to get an appointment with you or wants to explore this further? You mentioned webinars. What's your website? Where's the best first stop?
Best place is go to our website to register for our webinars. It's called reverseyourdiabetes.com. Real simple, easy to remember, reverseyourdiabetes.com. And you can register for our next free webinar. That'll explain everything to you and see if that's something that you feel like you want to do. But it's reversible. We guarantee results. We got the only patented system in the world that reverses type 2. So we're the real deal. And it's just a matter of whether you want to do it or not. So
I like it. I'll make sure that there's a link in the show description, below the video, on the blog page, everywhere that you could be consuming this. The link will be there. If you're watching it on video, you'll probably see that web address below Dr. Hockings' name. So all kinds of access to it. Is there anything I should have asked you that I left out?
No, we covered a lot of ground. It's just, again, don't overcomplicate it. It is reversible. You don't have to live with this disease the rest of your life, no matter what your doctor told you. And we guarantee results. There's nothing to lose by trying it. So again, we made it as simple as possible to give this a shot so you can see how fast your blood sugar can come down. You don't have to keep taking these nasty meds every day the rest of your life. There is hope, and we got the solution. So
I like it. Dr. Hockings, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, my pleasure. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed that episode today on The Dr. Haley Show. Make sure to hit subscribe on whichever platform you are listening to this. If this episode made you think of someone, go ahead, take a screenshot, and share this exact episode with them. You can catch the show notes for this episode on www.drhaley.com. If you want to geek out with Dr. Michael Haley on other radical health topics, be sure to check out his YouTube channel, where he posts exclusive video content. All the details are at www.drhaley.com, and we can't wait to hang out with you on the next episode.